Aspen Lodge was their crowning social event. My sister Madeline had orchestrated every detail from the hand-calligraphed invitations to the imported decorations. I smoothed my simple black sweater, watching the scene unfold through the lodge's vast windows. My family hadn't spotted me yet, standing in the shadows of the grand lobby. "Did you hear from Emily?" Aunt Sarah asked Mom, who was arranging crystal champagne flutes. "Oh," Mom waved dismissively, "she won't be joining us. All the luxury hotels are fully booked." She smiled, clearly pleased. "We told her months ago to reserve rooms, but she was too busy with her, what does she call it? Hospitality consulting." If they only knew that hospitality consulting meant building elite hotels, the world's most exclusive luxury chain. 5 years of careful acquisition and development, all under shell companies to hide my identity as owner and CEO. "Poor Emily," Madeline simpered, adjusting her designer scarf. "Still playing hotelier while we enjoy the best suite at Aspen Lodge." My phone buzzed. A message from my COO. "Acquisition of Aspen Lodge complete. Transfer of ownership finalizes at midnight." She could have been part of this, Dad sighed, sipping his scotch. If she'd just joined the family real estate business instead of chasing pipe dreams. I checked my watch. In exactly 3 minutes, Elite Hotels would announce its acquisition of the lodge, along with 20 other premium properties worldwide. "At least she's employed," Mom sniffed. "Though managing budget hotels is hardly a career. All luxury hotels are fully booked," Madeline gloated again, clearly enjoying my supposed exclusion. "She'll probably spend Christmas at one of her little motels." I stepped forward finally, heels clicking on marble. "Actually, I have accommodations arranged." "Emily." Mom startled. "How did you get in?" "I own the building," I replied calmly, just as my phone buzzed with the official announcement. "Breaking news. Elite Hotels acquires luxury portfolio including Aspen Lodge. CEO Emily Henderson expands empire to 100 properties worldwide." Dad's face went pale. Madeline's champagne glass slipped from her fingers. "Margaret," I spoke into my phone, "please cancel the Henderson family's presidential suite access. Effective immediately." "That's impossible," Mom sputtered. "This is the most exclusive resort in Aspen. You can't possibly." "Check the ownership transfer," I suggested mildly. As of midnight, Elite Hotels owns not just this property, but every luxury hotel in Aspen. "Elite Hotels?" Dad whispered. "The chain that's revolutionizing luxury hospitality?" "My little hospitality consulting project," I nodded. "Though I suppose managing budget hotels isn't as impressive as real estate development." Madeline frantically checked her phone, reading the breaking news. $8 billion. Acquisition of premium properties. Industry-leading service protocols. "Your budget hotels," Mom said faintly. "They were just a cover." "A very profitable cover," I confirmed. "While you were mocking my career choice, I was building the most successful luxury hotel chain in the world." The lobby screens flickered with the news, showing Elite Hotels properties across the globe, each one more luxurious than the last. My photo appeared alongside headlines announcing the historic acquisition. "The Christmas reservations," Dad started, realizing the implications, "are now under Elite Hotels management," I finished. "And unfortunately, we have a strict policy against guests who treat hospitality workers as beneath them." My phone rang, the mayor of Aspen, probably calling about the town's largest property transfer in history. I let it go to voicemail. "Miss Henderson?" My assistant approached. "The international press is waiting for your statement about the acquisition." "The suite," Madeline said desperately. "All our Christmas plans should have included basic respect for people in hospitality," I replied. "Funny how that works out." Through the lobby windows I could see news vans arriving. The story of Elite Hotels' expansion was breaking worldwide. "But where will we stay?" Mom asked, her voice small. "Everything else is booked. There's a lovely budget motel on the outskirts of town," I smiled slightly. "Since that's more what did you call it? My level?" Dad stepped forward, his real estate developer confidence shattered. "Princess, we didn't know." "That was the point," I cut him off. "I learned early not to share success with people who'd already decided I was a failure." My phone buzzed again. stock prices soaring as markets reacted to Elite's expansion. The little hotelier had just become one of the most powerful figures in luxury hospitality. Emily, Mom tried again. It's Christmas. Yes, I agreed. A perfect time to learn about humility and the value of every person in the hospitality industry. As I turned to leave, Madeline called out desperately, "We're family." I paused at the grand entrance. Family? That didn't matter when you thought I was beneath you. Now if you'll excuse me, I have an empire to run. The next morning I sat in my private office at the Aspen Lodge, watching multiple screens display Elite Hotel's triumphant expansion. Every major news network covered the story, luxury hospitality's new queen, and how Emily Henderson built an $8 billion hotel empire in secret. The transition is complete, Ms. Henderson, my CEO announced. All properties now operating under Elite protocols. And, she smiled slightly, your family spent the night at the Mountain View Motel. I glanced at the security feed showing my family trudging through snow from the budget motel, the only accommodation available during peak season. Madeline's designer luggage looked particularly out of place in the modest surroundings. There in the lobby, my assistant informed me through the intercom. Your sister appears to be distressed. Send them up, I said, turning to face the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the snow-covered mountains. Let them see what playing hotelier really means. They entered like chastened children, their usual confidence stripped away. The office, all sleek luxury and commanding views, seemed to diminish them further. The motel, Madeline began, her voice hoarse. It was beneath you, I suggested. Like hospitality work. Emily, Mom stepped forward, clutching her designer handbag. The news is saying Elite Hotels is worth $8 billion, I confirmed. Though with today's stock jump, probably closer to 10. Dad moved to speak, but froze as he saw the wall of awards behind my desk. Hotelier of the Year, Most Innovative Luxury Brand, Hospitality Visionary. Your hotels, he said quietly. They're not just luxury properties, are they? They're revolutionizing the entire industry. Among other things, I nodded. Elite service protocols are being studied at top business schools. Though I suppose that's not as impressive as local real estate development. My phone buzzed continuously, congratulations from world leaders, investment offers, acquisition proposals. The hospitality world had woken up to find a new queen. The Christmas gala, Madeline said suddenly. All the society people coming. We'll need to find other accommodations, I finished. Elite Hotels has rather strict standards about guest behavior. Mockery of service staff is an automatic blacklist offense. Mom sank into a guest chair. But the planning committee, my charity board, they're all coming to Aspen. They were coming to my hotel, I corrected. And now they're not welcome. Actions have consequences. Through the windows, more guests arrived in luxury vehicles, Elite's signature service making even jaded travelers feel like royalty. Ms. Henderson? My assistant interrupted. The Saudi royal family is requesting your personal attention for their New Year's booking. And the White House called about the presidential suite. Tell them I'll handle it personally, I replied. Unlike some people, I believe no guest is beneath my attention. Dad stepped forward, desperation in his voice. Princess, we were wrong. Save it, I held up my hand. I'm about to announce Elite's next expansion. 10 more properties, including that resort in Maui you tried to buy last year. Madeline's head snapped up. The one that wouldn't sell to us. Because I already owned it, I smiled slightly. Through one of my budget hotel companies. The screens showed Elite stock continuing to soar as markets digested our expansion news. The little hotelier had become hospitality's biggest success story. The service standards, Mom said suddenly. The way your staff treats every guest like royalty. Because they are professionals who deserve respect, I emphasized. Every housekeeper, every valet, every front desk clerk. The people you thought were beneath you? They're the heart of my success. My phone rang, another royal family seeking accommodations. Elite had become the only acceptable choice for the world's most discerning travelers. What do you want? Madeline asked quietly. Name your price to restore our reservations. I laughed, the sound echoing off marble walls. I'm worth $10 billion. There is no price. Then why? She pressed. Revenge. Education, I corrected. About respect, dignity, and the value of every person in hospitality. Consider this your crash course. The lobby screens showed more guests arriving, each receiving Elite's legendary welcome. Meanwhile, my family stood in borrowed clothes, their designer luggage stored in a budget motel. You should go, I said finally. I have an empire to run. The Mountain View Motel has a lovely continental breakfast, I hear. Quite a change from your usual caviar and champagne. As security prepared to escort them out, I called after them. Oh, and Madeline? The next time you mock someone in hospitality, remember, they might just own the building. 3 months later, I stood in Elite Hotel's flagship New York property, watching the sunset paint golden streaks across Manhattan's skyline. Forbes magazine's latest cover sat on my desk. The Hospitality Revolution. How Emily Henderson built a $15 billion empire on respect. The first quarter results, Ms. Henderson, my CFO announced, displaying holographic projections. Revenue up 200% since the expansion. Our service satisfaction scores are unprecedented. Through the windows I could see guests arriving, world leaders, celebrities, royalty, all drawn by Elite's reputation for unparalleled service and respect. Miss Henderson? My assistant's voice came through. Your family is here. They've completed the training program. I checked the security feed. They look different now, humbled. Madeline wore a simple black suit instead of her designer labels. After experiencing life on the other side of hospitality, they'd all changed. The training program had been my condition for even considering their return to Elite properties. 30 days working every position in a hotel. Housekeeping, front desk, kitchen staff, valet parking. Send them up, I said, turning to face the city lights. Let's see what they learned. They entered quietly, nothing like their former entitled selves. Mom's perfectly manicured hands showed signs of honest work. Dad's designer shoes were replaced with comfortable service industry standard. The housekeeper on the 4th floor, Madeline spoke first, her voice soft. Maria. She has 3 children and works 2 jobs. I used to snap my fingers at people like her. And now I understand why your first action as CEO was to double service staff salaries and provide full benefits. I nodded, remembering the industry's shock when Elite Hotels announced its revolutionary employee policies. The training, Dad said quietly. It was enlightening. Amazing what happens when you walk in someone else's shoes, I replied. Or in this case, someone else's uniform. Mom stepped forward, tears in her eyes. The guests I checked in, the way some of them looked at me like I was nothing. Like you used to look at hotel staff? I suggested mildly. They flinched collectively. The hospitality industry, I continued, moving to the window, isn't about luxury suites or champagne service. It's about human dignity. Every guest, every employee, every interaction matters. My phone buzzed with another update. Elite's employee satisfaction scores had set new industry records. Turnover was near zero, unheard of in hospitality. Your service protocols, Madeline said. They're not just about luxury, are they? They're about respect. Respect goes both ways, I confirmed. Elite Hotel succeeds because we value everyone, from the CEO to the newest trainee. We understand now, Dad whispered. I turned to face them fully. Do you? Understanding isn't just about walking in someone's shoes for a month. It's about permanent change. The foundation you're starting, Mom ventured, the one for hospitality education, will provide full scholarships for service industry workers and their children, I nodded. Because everyone deserves a chance to rise. I want to help, Madeline said suddenly. Not in management or ownership, but really help. Maybe, guest relations? Starting at the bottom. I studied her carefully. The entitled socialite was gone, replaced by someone who'd learned valuable lessons. Entry-level position, I said finally. No special treatment. You'll work every holiday including Christmas. Still interested? Yes, she said firmly. I need to make amends. Not just to you but to every service worker I ever disrespected. And us? Mom asked softly. The employee cafeteria serves Sunday brunch, I replied. Join me there. Not in the executive dining room. We eat where our staff eats. They nodded, understanding the ongoing lesson. But first, I added, there's someone you should meet. I led them to the lobby where an elderly housekeeper worked. Someone who'd been with me since my first hotel. This is Rosa, I introduced them. When every bank rejected my business plan, she invested her life savings in my first property. She believed in respect-based hospitality before it was profitable. Rosa smiled warmly. Miss Henderson showed me that good business and good hearts can go together. My family watched in silence as guests greeted Rosa by name, many stopping to chat with the woman they'd come to know and respect. I have to go, I gathered my materials. The World Economic Forum wants to discuss our employment model. Rosa, keep showing them what true hospitality looks like. As I reached the door, Madeline called out, Emily? Thank you. Not just for the lesson but for the chance to be better. I paused, looking back at my family, at Rosa, at the empire we'd built on a foundation of respect. Required 3 months' notice and a member referral. Crystal chandeliers, leather booths, waiters in white gloves, and a wine list thicker than most novels. My parents loved it here. It screamed old money, prestige, exclusivity, everything they valued. Tonight was their 30th wedding anniversary. Just family. Me, my sister Vanessa, and our parents. Intimate and elegant, exactly how Mom wanted it. I arrived exactly on time, 7 p.m. Vanessa was already there, wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary, her engagement ring catching the light every time she moved her hand. He did that a lot. The hand thing. Making sure everyone saw the 3-carat diamond her fiancé Brandon had given her. Harper, she said when she saw me, her voice dripping with false sweetness. It actually came. I thought you'd be too busy with your little projects. Wouldn't miss it, I replied, sliding into the booth. Mom and Dad arrived moments later, both dressed impeccably. Dad in a tailored suit, Mom in pearls and silk. They looked like they'd stepped out of a country club catalog. Happy anniversary, I said, standing to hug them. Thank you, darling, Mom said, but her eyes were already scanning my outfit. Simple black dress, minimal jewelry, no designer labels. I could see the disappointment flicker across her face. You look comfortable. Translation: you look poor. We ordered drinks. Champagne for everyone except me. I ordered water. Vanessa noticed immediately. Not drinking, Harper? Trying to save money? She laughed like it was a joke, but there was an edge to it. Just prefer to stay clear-headed, I said. Of course. You always were the serious one. No fun. Vanessa sipped her champagne. Brandon and I just got back from the Maldives. 2 weeks at a private resort. It was absolutely divine. Have you ever been to the Maldives, Harper? No. Oh. Well, you should go sometime. When you can afford it. Another laugh. Another reminder. Dad cleared his throat. So, Vanessa tells us the wedding planning is going well. June wedding at the Botanical Gardens, correct? Yes, Daddy. It's going to be perfect. Brandon's parents are flying in their friends from Europe. We're expecting about 300 guests. Vanessa turned to me. You're still coming, right, Harper? I know it might be hard for you to take time off work, but family is important. I'll be there, I said quietly. The appetizers arrived. Oysters, caviar, imported cheese. Dad ordered a $400 bottle of wine. The conversation flowed around me. Vanessa's wedding, Brandon's promotion, the vacation home Dad was considering buying in Aspen. Harper, you've been quiet, Mom said, dabbing her lips with a napkin. How's work? It's good, I said. Still doing that tech thing? Dad asked vaguely. Software development, yes. He didn't sound interested. Well, it's good you have a steady job. Not glamorous, but steady. Vanessa jumped in. Brandon's company just landed a huge contract with a pharmaceutical company. He's being fast-tracked to partner. At 32. Can you imagine? That's wonderful, Mom beamed. What about you, Harper? Vanessa asked with mock curiosity. Any big promotions? Raises? Or are you still just coding? Still coding, I confirmed. Well, someone has to do it, I suppose. Vanessa exchanged a look with Mom that I wasn't supposed to see but did. The main course arrived. Wagyu beef, lobster tail, truffle risotto. The kind of meal that cost more than some people's weekly grocery budget. I ate slowly, savoring the food while half listening to Vanessa dominate the conversation with wedding details, honeymoon plans, and the house she and Brandon were building in the suburbs. Then came dessert. Crème brûlée, chocolate soufflé, a cheese plate. And with dessert came the announcement I hadn't been expecting. Dad set down his wine glass and cleared his throat. Your mother and I wanted to talk to you both about something important tonight. Vanessa perked up. I stayed quiet. As you know, we set up trust funds for both of you when you were born, Dad continued. Harper, yours was set to mature when you turned 25. That was 6 years ago. I remember, I said. You cashed it out almost immediately. $1.2 million, gone in a matter of months. Dad's tone was disapproving. We were disappointed, Harper. That money was supposed to be your foundation, your security. We don't know what you spent it on, but it's gone now. I said nothing. Vanessa, however, has been more responsible, Mom added, smiling at my sister. She's kept her trust fund intact, invested it wisely, and demonstrated real financial maturity. Vanessa preened. So we've made a decision, Dad announced. We're restructuring the trusts. Vanessa, yours will remain as planned. But Harper, we're reallocating your remaining inheritance to your sister. She's proven she can handle it. She's achieved something. She's getting married, building a life, doing things the right way. The table went silent. Vanessa's smirk was barely concealed. Mom nodded approvingly. Dad watched me, waiting for a reaction. We're giving your trust fund to your sister, Dad said again, slower this time, like I hadn't understood. She actually achieved something. Well, you had your chance. I set down my fork carefully, took a sip of water, and smiled. Hey, I said. Dad blinked. Okay? That's all you have to say. What would you like me to say? I thought you'd be upset, Mom said, looking almost disappointed that I wasn't crying or begging. Why would I be upset about money that doesn't exist anymore? I asked calmly. Because it was yours, Vanessa said, unable to hide her satisfaction. And now it's mine. Because I'm responsible and you're not. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, turned the screen toward them. I'm not upset because this is my actual bank account. 3 faces leaned in to look. The number on the screen, $67,349,284.33. Mom gasped audibly. That's 67 million? Give or take a few $100,000, I said. It fluctuates daily based on market performance. Dad grabbed the phone from my hand, staring at the screen like it might be a trick. This can't be real. This is fake. You edited this somehow. It's real, I said. The trust fund you're talking about? The $1.2 million I cashed out at 18? I invested it. Started a software company. Sold it 4 years later for $8.3 million. Then I started another company. Sold that one for $23 million. Then I started a third company which I still own. It's currently valued at $94 million and I hold 62% of the shares. The table was completely silent. Vanessa's face had gone white. You're lying. Am I? I took my phone back and opened my investment portfolio. Here's my stock holdings. Here's my real estate portfolio. I own 4 commercial properties and 6 residential. Here's my business valuation from last quarter. Would you like to see my tax returns? I paid $8.2 million in taxes last year. Why didn't you tell us? Mom whispered, her hand at her throat. I tried, I said simply. Multiple times. 4 years ago when I sold my first company, I invited you to dinner to celebrate. Dad, you said you were busy with a golf tournament. Mom, you said you had a charity luncheon. Vanessa, you said you had plans with Brandon. That's not, Vanessa started. 3 years ago when I started my second company, I invited you to the launch party. None of you came. Dad said it was nice that I had a hobby. Mom asked when I was going to get a real job. Vanessa told her friends I worked in IT support. Dad's face was red now. You should have insisted. Made us listen. I did, I said calmly. I sent you all quarterly updates about my companies. Financial reports. Growth projections. None of you ever responded. Not once. So I stopped trying. This is insane, Vanessa said, her voice rising. If you're so rich, why do you dress like that? Why do you live in that tiny apartment? Why don't you have a nice car? I dress comfortably because I work from home most days. I live in a 1,200 square foot apartment because I don't need more space and it's in a great location. I drive a hybrid because it's fuel efficient and reliable. I paused. I don't need to perform wealth, Vanessa. I actually have it. Mom was crying now, mascara starting to run. Harper, honey, we didn't know. You have to understand, we had no idea. You had no idea because you never asked, I said. Every conversation was about Vanessa's accomplishments. Vanessa's wedding. Vanessa's life. I was just the other daughter. The disappointing one who cashed out her trust fund and probably wasted it on something frivolous. What did you want us to think? Dad demanded. You took $1.2 million and disappeared with it. I invested it, I said firmly. And I tripled it within 6 years. Then I turned that into tens of millions. I built 3 successful companies. I employ 87 people. I pay their healthcare, their retirement, their salaries. I've created something real and sustainable. But none of that mattered to you because I didn't do it the way you expected. Vanessa found her voice again, sharp and defensive. So what, you're just going to sit there and make us feel bad? Rub your money in our faces. No, I said. I'm going to tell you something you need to hear. That trust fund you're giving to Vanessa? The one you think I wasted? I stopped caring about it the moment I realized I could build something bigger on my own. I don't need your money. I never did. I just needed you to see me. We do see you, Mom said desperately. No, you don't. You see what I'm showing you right now because it's undeniable. But you've never seen me. You've never asked about my work, my goals, my life. You decided I was the unsuccessful daughter and never questioned it. Dad leaned back in the booth looking 10 years older suddenly. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say, Dad. You made your decision. Give Vanessa my trust fund. He's welcome to it. I have everything I need. I picked up my water glass. But there's something else you should know. They all stared at me. That trust fund you're reallocating? The one still in the family accounts. I've been managing your entire investment portfolio for the last 3 years. Mom's eyes went wide. What? Remember when you said your financial advisor retired and the firm assigned you a new one? That was me. Well, my company. Baker Financial Management. I bought the firm 2 years ago specifically because they managed your accounts. I wanted to make sure you were taken care of. You've been managing our money? Dad's voice was hoarse. Yes. Your retirement accounts, your investments, everything. The returns you've seen over the last 3 years? That was my strategy. Your portfolio value has increased by 47% since I took over. You're about to retire very comfortably because of investments I made on your behalf. Vanessa looked like she might be sick. Why would you do that? Because regardless of how you see me, you're still my family, I said. I wanted to make sure you were secure. That Mom and Dad could retire without worry. That their money worked for them. Harper. Mom reached for my hand but I pulled back gently. I need you to understand something, I said. I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need your validation. I built my success without your support and I'll continue to build it regardless of whether you ever acknowledge it. But I wanted you to know on your anniversary that the daughter you dismissed has been taking care of you this whole time. I stood up, pulling my coat from the back of the booth. Where are you going? Dad asked. Home. I have a board meeting in the morning. We're finalizing a merger that's going to expand my company into 3 new markets. I placed my napkin on the table. Dinner was lovely. Happy anniversary. Harper, please, Mom begged. We need to talk about this. We need to. No, we don't, I said gently. You made it very clear tonight where I stand in this family. You were prepared to give away my inheritance without even talking to me about it first. You announced it like it was a done deal, like I had no say, like I didn't matter. That tells me everything I need to know. We made a mistake, Dad said, standing up. A terrible mistake. Please sit back down. Let's talk. We've been talking for 31 years, Dad. You just haven't been listening. I picked up my phone. For what it's worth, Vanessa, congratulations on your wedding. I hope you and Brandon are very happy together. And enjoy the trust fund. Consider it a wedding gift. I don't want it now, Vanessa said quietly, tears streaming down her face. Not like this. Too late, I said. You were perfectly happy to take it 5 minutes ago when you thought I was broke. Nothing's changed except what you know about me. And that says everything. I walked toward the exit of the Sterling Club. Behind me, I heard Mom crying, Dad calling my name, Vanessa saying something I couldn't quite hear. But I didn't turn around. The valet brought my car around. My unremarkable hybrid that was paid off and perfectly functional. I got in and drove home to my tiny apartment with the view of the harbor and the home office where I'd built a multi-million-dollar empire. My phone started ringing before I even pulled out of the parking lot. Mom, please come back. We can fix this. Dad, I looked up your company. Harper, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Vanessa, I feel sick. I don't want the trust fund. I don't want any of it. And one text from Brandon, Vanessa's fiancé, who'd apparently been briefed. Holy shit, you're that Harper Baker? The tech entrepreneur? Vanessa never told me. What the hell? I turned my phone to silent and drove home. When I got to my apartment, I poured a glass of wine and sat on my balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, my family was probably still at the Sterling Club, trying to process what had just happened. Trying to reconcile the daughter they'd dismissed with the woman who'd been quietly succeeding beyond their wildest expectations. My phone buzzed with a call. Not my family this time. My CFO. Harper, the Morgan deal just closed. We're officially expanding to the West Coast. Congratulations, boss. Thanks, David. Good work. Are you okay? You sound off. Family dinner, I said. Say no more. He paused. For what it's worth, you've built something incredible here. Don't let anyone make you forget that. I won't, I promised. After I hung up, I looked at the messages flooding my phone. 23 from Mom. 15 from Dad. 37 from Vanessa. All of them desperate. All of them apologetic. All of them suddenly seeing me for the first time. But here's the thing about finally being seen. Sometimes it comes too late. Sometimes people only value you when they realize what you're worth. And that's not love. That's not respect. That's just recognition of utility. I'd spent 31 years trying to earn their approval. Trying to prove I was enough. And I'd done it. I'd exceeded every possible measure of success. Built companies. Made millions. Created jobs. Managed their investments. Taken care of them even when they couldn't be bothered to take care of me. And the moment they found out. The moment they realized I wasn't the failure they'd believed I was. They wanted back in. But I was done performing. Done proving. Done shrinking myself to fit their expectations. I opened my laptop and looked at the investor reports for my company. Growth projections showing another 40% increase next year. 3 acquisition offers we were considering. A product launch that would revolutionize our industry. This was real. This was mine. And this was enough. I didn't need a trust fund. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need them to see me. Because I'd finally learned to see myself. And what I saw was worth $67 million and climbing. The trust fund they tried to take away? It was nothing. The life I'd built without them? Everything.